Last week we discussed something about the record. Okay, but this time I need to explain one thing. The other side that is called a simulated record, but actually, you know, sometimes the same behavior, but in different countries they have different names. Generally, we call it as mock record. M-O-C-K, mock record. Not a real, just a simulated, just a practice. Okay, and if your for business is big enough, you will be asked to conduct a simulated record or mock record annually. It depends on what kind of certification you obtained. For example, I believe everyone heard about it. ISO 22000 or the similar FSSC 22000. They are certifications for food safety. And according to the rules, for example, rules, there are two kinds. One is for the national legislation. The other is from the certification. For example, there is a famous one that's called GFSI. Let me show you this. Okay, let me try to find the here. Okay, this one GFSI, the full name. So I forgot the full name. Global Food Safety Initiative, like this. Okay. Where is the Global Food Safety Initiative? Okay, and actually it's not a government organization, it's not a government sector, it's a non-government organization. Actually, but they made some rules, and if your certification want to get recognized by GFSI, and you need to follow the rules. For example, from the GFSI, it asks the certification at least conduct a mock record once a year. That is the requirement for get the certification of it. Okay, and why? Because if the company run the simulated record once or twice a year, if something bad really happens, they can they are familiar with the process. They can do the real record in a short time. But another question: why my student and I did this translation last year? Why? We are very busy. We don't have enough time. But we know that in Taiwan, we don't have enough information about the food record and simulated record. Thus, we did a translation. And it's a contribution to a society. And I released this one under the same Creative Commons, the kind of license is openly licensed material. Then, for the companies, for the industry, they can be benefit to read by reading our translation text here. Okay, and thus I want to persuade you, if you have a chance, you can do the translation. And maybe business, or if you are interested in the field of food science and nutrition, you can ask my opinion. I will give you some suggestions. Okay, and now I explained the motivation why we did the translation, and maybe you can do this. Okay, let's move forward. Okay, what is a simulated record? A simulated record, called mock record, tests the effectiveness of your traceability and recall procedures. It involves developing a scenario, carry out your scenario in a similar way to a genuine food recall, then reviewing how effective it was to identify any areas for improvement. Okay, again, what is a simulatory recall? To test effectiveness of your traceability. What does it mean, traceability? It means from the material, go to the processing, go to the retailers, and go to the consumers. You can trace it. You can trace it. For example, I got a phone call. One of our material, for example, the honey, is contaminated with cadmium. Cadmium, that is a toxic heavy metal. That's heavy metal. Okay. Then we use the honey, the contaminated the material to produce our product. For example, the cookies. For example, the cookies. And now we need to recall the cookies. Actually, we sell the cookies to the retailers, and retailers sell it to the supermarket, even to the consumers. We need to trace it back, then recall the product back. This process is called the traceability. Okay, let's move. Okay, a simulated recall is a bit like emergency evacuation drill. It's drill. Okay, it's not a real. It's a drill. Okay, it can help to improve capability to make a real recall quicker and more effective. Support anyone involved so that they are clear on roles and responsibilities and know what to expect in a real recall. Identify any gaps or areas for improvement in your procedures and demonstrate the importance of good traceability record keeping to staff. Okay, and a successful simulated recall scenario should result in either the first, a consumer level simulated recall, which involves simulating the process of removing affected product from the supply chain and communicating to consumers. Second, a trailer level simulated recall will involve simulating the process of removing affected product from the food supply chain. It means it is yet to reach the consumers. Okay. Next question: who should be involved in a simulated recall? Okay. You should aim to involve everyone in your simulated recall who would be involved in a real recall. Okay. As long as the person who will be in the real recall, they should be in the simulated recall. Okay, undoubtedly. Okay, this means the senior staff responsible for making decisions, as well as staff involved with operation, marketing, and communication, and sales and distribution. And okay, see, the grammar is questionable. Okay, for example, and one more and. Sorry, because when I was a junior high school student, we started learning English from the grammar, and no, I'm not criticizing the grammar problem here. It's interesting. One sentence is with one and, two and, three ands. Okay, how often should I carry out a simulated recall? According to the laws from the New Zealand, okay, from 1st July 2023, businesses with a plan or program under the Food Act, Wine Act, or Animal Product Act, as well as importers and exporters will need to carry out a simulated recall. Regulations require this at least every 12 months after a simulated recall. or a junior recall if the recall demonstrated the traceability of and recall procedures to be effective. Okay, here, annually or once a year, it's reasonable. It's reasonable, but if under some situations, for example, you know there is a health food called Monascus anca. Monascus is not English, it's Latin, it's a microorganism name. Let me show you. Monascus. It's called a red yeast rice. Oh, sorry, I misspelled it. Monascus. Okay, red yeast rice. A piece of this is a rice. It's a rice, very small, very small. Okay, the red rice yeast or red rice koji is a bright reddish purple fermented rice. And actually, this year, maybe early in March, Japan, Kobayashi, here, Kobayashi red is the rice scandal. I don't like the term scandal, but it's real. I like the term tragedy because about 300 people were killed by eating this health food. I'm not kidding. Okay, the Kobayashi red rice scandal is ongoing widespread supplement contamination. First noticed on 22nd March this year, resulting in numerous health problems of people in Japan and Taiwan. So I know this event, but at least 0 death events in Taiwan, but at least 300 deaths in Japan. I'm not kidding, up to 80 people died after this talking. No, 300, because they forgot to update this, and more than 500 were hospitalized. Okay, and for this event, the company, the name is Kobayashi, they need to recall the product. That's one thing, and they need to solve this problem. Not solve the problem. Okay, like this. Yep. It's Kobayashi is the company name. Yep. In supplement, because in Taiwan, China, and Japan, and Korea, we like this kind of supplement, and the raw material look like this. We know the rice, we eating rice, very small, right? Rice, and this is a piece of rice. You see the shape like this, and at the fermentation under the in the common name, there's red yeast. In the academic name is Monascus anca. Okay, and it's the rice. Actually, it's health food. But unfortunately, during the process, the workers in Japan, in the Kobayashi company, the plant, the factory, they spilled the material on the ground. And theoretically, they need to discard the materials, the rice, the raw rice, but they didn't. they collect, I heard about that, they collect 30 kilograms of the rice and put it back, and it's very possibly that they got another type of toxic fungi, and the fungi produce the toxins on the rice, but they didn't know it. They didn't know it until somebody died. That is not good news. Thus, the company Microbiology, they conduct the recall many times. Recall their product from the retailer, from consumers, back to. And in Taiwan, with Taiwan Food and Drug Administration ordered many countries, as long as you import the rice, the material from Japan, you need to do the food recall. Recall your product because your product, one of the material is this. But I think it's a scandal. I don't know the term scandal. It's a tragedy. It's a tragedy. Okay. Later I will send this message, the message for you. Again, Wikipedia is not a reliable source, but for the general education is okay. But for a thesis or formal reporting, it's not a good source. But I think all information here is easier. It's easier. We can get the information easier. Okay. And here is the structure of the peroxylic acid produced by another fungi, like this. Okay, let's move back. Okay, here is the regulation from New Zealand. Let's move. Okay, recommended. Sorry, I prefer to read this recommended, but someone recommended. Okay, recommended simulated recall steps. The same, step 1, 2, and there are 6 steps in the step 2. Okay, first step, develop a scenario. Try to mimic a situation that may different conditions for the recall. Pick a problem. Develop a backstory. Prepare supporting information. Then work through your scenario. Similar as the document we read last time. Investigate. Okay, gathering information. Understand the scenario. Identify affected product. Trial on how the process is. Okay, later we have some examples. You will, it's understandable. You can catch it. Inform. Recall how you would tell your verifier. Verifier is officer, food health, food safety officer, or New Zealand food safety in a real recall. I just gave you the information. I gave you the files. You can check the files. Okay. Assess the risk. Decide if a recall is needed and what label, I mean the trade label or consumer label, should be conducted. Check. Record how you would tell New Zealand food safety and check your assessment and decision with the New Zealand food safety in a real recall. Okay. Then next, communicate. Prepare draft communications materials with impacted businesses and consumers for a consumer label simulated recall. Record how you would communicate in a real recall. Audit. Collect reconciliation records. Optional. Fill out audit form, review and identify corrective actions. Okay, there are so many steps. Let's check some simulated scenarios. Okay, first, develop a scenario. Best practice tips. It is best practice to base on your scenario on something that could really happen in your business, or according to the better things happened in the past. Okay. To design a new scenario for each simulated recall. To design your scenario to reflect a worst case. Wow, very worst case for your business. Maybe some people died after eating your product, something like this, and design it as a consumer level recall. What does it mean, consumer level? It means your product can be purchased, can be reached by the consumer. For example, if $1 selling cookies to the supermarket, but just in the warehouse, they didn't put the product on the shelf, we call it is a trade label. Because they didn't place my product on the shelf, and those consumers has no chance to buy it. It's easier because consumers have no chance to buy it. It's called the trade label. But after consumer can reach, oh, I like this cookie, $1 strawberry cookie, then it increase the risk. And the kind of recall label is up to the consumer label. It's more complicated. Then, for a different person or team to develop the simulated recall scenario to the person or team carrying out the simulated. Okay, again, for a different person or team to develop a simulated recall scenario, then another team or person to conduct it. Okay. Pick a problem. Example problem could include an undeclared allergen, foreign matter, or microbiological hazard, chemical hazard in your product. Okay. Let's move to next. Okay. Prepare supporting information. Prepare information to release to the person or team carrying out the simulated recall. For example, a simulated communication like an email, informing them about a problem at the start of the simulated recall. A simulated recall from a lab, an email, like an email, with a test result to provide during their investigation into the simulated problem. Hi, I'm sorry to inform you that your product may contain some pathogens and it can be a big problem. Please take action. Okay, next. A simulated communication from supplier to provide them during their investigation into the simulated recall. Okay, there are some examples. First one, examples of simulated recall scenarios and supporting information. You may like to use one of the following simulated recall scenarios if they are suitable for your business. If they are, if they aren't suitable for your business, you can adapt them to your specific situation. The first problem, undeclared allergen. A consumer experienced an allergic reaction following consumption of your product. Oh, that's too bad. And NZFS, the New Zealand Food Safety, informed you about the problem. Third, the allergen was peanuts. Okay, now, in ideas for supporting information, simulated correspondence with NZFF example, an email reporting to them, hello, we are $1 company and we got the information and we start to investigate how can we get this kind of contamination, something like this. Okay, simulated correspondence with supplier. Dear Mr. Chen supermarket, we found a problem like this, and we sold 200 kilograms of our product to your company. Please be aware of this. Okay. simulated correspondence with the lab, email with the test result from the product. For example, the allergic protein is 200 milligrams per kilogram. Okay. Ingredients revealing that the source of the allergen was one batch of a contaminated ingredient. What does it mean here? Just one batch of the material or the product got contaminated. That's easier because just the batch. Maybe the flour or maybe the raw material contains peanuts, but we didn't know. Well, we didn't know. Okay. And a simulated Aureus cells and distribution records. Okay. That is the situation, the simulated the scenario on declared allergy. Okay, next, foreign matter. A consumer found foreign matter in your product. Okay, a consumer complained directly to your business about your product. The foreign matter was metal wire, maybe copper, maybe steel, maybe iron, maybe aluminum, something like this. Okay. Then simulated correspondence with consumer, example, an email with the picture of the foreign matter, a piece of wire, like a piece of wire. Okay. The product batch number, foreign matter measurements. For example, the debris or the wire can be 1 or 2 centimeters in length, like this. And description, hard and sharp. Okay. Simulated Aureus inspection and or maintenance records revealing that the source of foreign matter was a breakage in your factory. A breakage, maybe some machine, maybe some equipment got broken, and the wire was exposed to the product. Simulated Aureus cells and distribution records. Okay. Then next is about the microbiological hazard. As we have seen the example I told you, that's class. USDA announced a recall about the cereal contaminated to the cucumber, sliced cucumber. Okay. 3 people reported becoming sick. Oh, that's too bad. Sure, it's a simulated case. After consuming your product. Okay. Then NZFS informed you about the product. The bacteria was Listeria monocytogenes. Oh, that's too bad. Because, as I say, for health adults, they can be safe when they encounter the Listeria, but for elders and infants, the death rate is about 30%. It means 3 people got sick, got listeriosis, 1 will die. That's very bad. Okay. Note, this scenario works best for ready-to-eat products. Especially for a product with higher water activity. Here. Okay. Simulated correspondence with NZFS. Example, an email reporting the product batch number, simulated Aureus cleaning records. Simulated correspondence with lab. Example, an email with test results. Example, presumptive positive, not detected, from different area in your facility and or from product revealing that the source of bacteria was likely to be a contaminated cutting table. Oh, sorry. and simulated all real sales distribution sales records are, for example, $1 cookie, sell to supermarket A, supermarket B, supermarket C, and we can create a simulated sales and distribution records. Okay. Next, chemical hazard. Chemical hazard. Multiple reports of illness. Your product is suspected. A retailer informed you about the problem. A retailer informed you the problem. The chemical hazard was elevated histamine. Sorry, histamine. Histamine is a kind of compound transferred by bacteria from the histidine, amino acids. Okay. Simulated correspondence with retailer. Example: an email from the retailer about the problem, the product, batch number, batch numbers, and batch numbers. Okay. Simulated correspondence with lab, email with the product test results. For example, at our test, the product has the histamine, the concentration is 220 milligrams per kilogram product for kilogram product. And simulated all real sales distribution records. Simulated temperature records revealing inadequate temperature control due to the malfunctioning chilling equipment. Okay, we found the reason because the machine or the equipment didn't work very well. It got malfunctioning. Thus, the temperature raised to maybe the room temperature, and bacteria started to act to transfer histidine. Sorry. Histidine. Histidine is one of essential amino acids for human, and the bacteria transfer the histidine to histamine. Histamine can cause allergy for human. For example, if I eat fish with overdose of histamine, I will itch, and I will you will see my skin become red. Then next, step 2, walk through your scenario. Okay, the first. The other step in your business that are involved in production or sales, if any, know about the simulated record and invite them to take part. Simulated gathering information about the problem. Do this by identifying actions to take or what to investigate, and in what order. Supporting information should be made available accordingly. Okay. Simulator using records, example, production, inventory, sales, and distribution to identify affected products. Simulated using records, product, inventory, sales, distribution, and determine where simulated affected products are. Maybe in the warehouse, maybe in the logistics. Okay. Test your on-hold process. This is not necessary to put a real-life hold on all simulated affected products in a simulated recall. Identify an area of source storage on hold products. For example, locked or tapped off. Inform there is no need to inform your verifier or NZFS immediately of your simulator record. However, you should prepare draft communications to your verifier and or NZFS to show your verifier that at your next verification. Support everyone involved so that they are clear on roles and responsibilities and know what to expect in a real record. Okay. Optional, you may like to prepare draft communications like email, okay, to logistics providers, consumers, suppliers, and brand owners. Assess that other step in your business that are responsible for the technical assessment and decision making, if any. Know about the simulated record and invite them to take part. Carry out a risk assessment. New Zealand Food Safety recommends using a risk assessment form and the word simulated record, all similar to the top of the form. Simulated record on the form. Okay. Make a decision to record or not further action. No record or yes record. Okay. The type of record, example, consumer label or trade label, which products and batches are included, and record your justification if the decision result is in no further action. Carry out another simulated record. Check. There is no need to check your simulated record decision or your product management disposal plan with NZFS. Instead, create a draft communication like an email with risk assessment attached. Checking your simulated record decision and product management disposal and show your verifier at your next verification. Communicate. Actually, first somebody said communicate with your customer or consumers. That is the most difficult part. Okay. If your simulated record is consumer labels simulated record, that other step in your business is responsible for communication with and marketing know about the simulated record and invite them to take part. Prepare a draft point of sale notice. However, there is no need to provide it to retailers. If your record is a consumer or trade level record, first, please prepare draft record communication to impacted business. There is no need to set the communications. If your simulated record is a consumer label simulated record, prepare draft advertising. However, there is no need to put it into practice. Audit and collect reconciliation records. First, amount of affected product produced or imported. Other, like self-sale, quality control samples, internet sales, export. Amount with the trade customer or consumers. Amount, let me finish this part. Okay. Amount unaccounted for. You cannot find that According to your records, you sell 10 boxes of your product, but so far you can trace only 9. One is missing. You don't know where it is. Review what went well and not so well. Identify any areas for improvement and/or staff training needs that needs to be done, and timeline for action. Optional, complete the record audit form. There is no need to send it to NCFS. You verify. Okay, I think we can stop here, then we can continue next week. Okay, see you guys next week. Okay, see you next time.